This is really a sobering event. It's grim, what I'm about to tell you. It's something that you probably have heard plenty about. And I hope I'm able to tell you some things maybe you haven't heard. I will tell you that in the mainstream media, it's not that they don't tell the truth, but they don't always tell the whole truth. And there's a heck of a lot of hype out there, and there's an awful lot of facts that I think are pertinent to those of us that live in the affected area that don't get out. So maybe I can talk about some of those things. I'm going to bounce around a little bit as we go. Be patient with me. These are just notes that I've taken over the last 2 or 3 days. I'm on a couple of conference calls a day. There's one in the afternoon, every afternoon, with Department of Emergency Management and Department of Environmental Protection. It's actually the best call I'm on. But yesterday I was on a call with Secretary Napolitano, Secretary Salazar from Interior, Lisa, I can't remember Lisa's last name, she's the administrator of EPA, Carol Lee Browner from the White House. We had 3 governors, a couple of U.S. senators, really good call, and some things will be coming from that later on this week. The Unified Command, if you've heard about the Unified Command, it is right now based in Mobile. It's in the Mobile Convention Center. The Coast Guard is in charge. This is different than a hurricane event where when an event is going to occur, the local government, in this case Santa Rosa County, would be in charge, and we request assistance from those other agencies, and they come to support us. In this case, because it's offshore, it's in the federal waters, the U.S. Coast Guard is in charge, and along with Homeland Security and EPA and all those agencies I just mentioned. BP is the responsible party. And this is where a lot of confusion has come up over the last few days. BP is paying for all this, 100% of this. And they are the responsible party, but they are not in charge. They don't have a decision process. If the Coast Guard and Department of Homeland Security and EPA and local state government agree that something needs to be done, it will be done, and BP will pay for it. And unlike some of the FEMA process that we go through after hurricanes where there's a local match and the local government or the local state government has to pick up a percentage of the cost of recovery, there will be none of that this time. 100% of the cost will be picked up by BP. Over a number of years, and I don't remember what year the law was passed, but it's been a number of years ago now, there's a nickel per barrel of oil collected and put into a contingency fund for events just like this. And then, of course, BP and Big Oil has to have those types of reserves as well. So that's something that's good. I just read where the Valdez 20 years ago was just settled in the last of the lawsuits were just settled in the last few weeks. It's kind of a daunting thought. But in this case, no request has ever been denied related to this event. BP has been out there front and center doing everything that's been asked of them. They have representatives in Pensacola. The Department of Environmental Protection and BP have people available to come out. We have requested, I don't have firm times yet, but we have requested that they be in this building around lunchtime on Monday. We'll leave from here and go to Pensacola Beach and have another hearing where the public, general public, the media can come out and ask questions, and they will give us their perspective of where things are at that time. Excuse me. Monday, they can only predict about 72 hours out with the weather where this slick, this spill, it's not a spill, it's an uncontrolled flow is the correct term. But it's only about 72 hours out that they can predict where this thing is going to be. And we are in the area of potential on Monday. Fortunately, the eastern part of it, if you've seen any of the maps, and let me give you a website, and I'll give it to you a few times as we go along. But if you go to santarosa.fl.gov, on our main website page, you'll find an opportunity to pick up all the information, the incidents that are going on, the latest advisories, the latest press releases. If you go to santarosa.fl.gov/oil spill, it'll have links to things like deephorizonresponse.com. You don't have to write that down, but Deep Horizon Response and a number of other websites. Everything you want to know about this event is going on there. What's happened though, you'll see in those websites a map of what this, it's really not a slick. Sometimes it's a slick, sometimes it's just a sheen. And in the case of what's coming toward us, it's a finger that's sticking out as kind of a sheen. And that's what's predicted to hit us on Monday. And it's going to have tar balls in it. But what's going to happen is you're going to smell it, and it's going to burn your eyes before you see it. It'll be well offshore, it'll be blowing in. It'll be similar to when a red tide comes in. You'll feel the effects of it, smell the effects of it long before you see it. I was on the conference call yesterday afternoon with Secretary Soule, Mike Soule, the Secretary of Florida DEP. They have talked about, we're going to clean the tar balls up, but it's going to stain the sand, and they're not even going to address that. They're putting boom out, you know, the boom that has the netting and all. They're putting that out in front of all the inlets, passes, and estuaries. It is not physically possible to boom the shoreline of Florida. There are 770 miles of shoreline in Florida. There's not enough boom in the world to do that, and the boom doesn't work. The boom doesn't work for that. Governor Riley in the phone call yesterday at lunchtime talked about the entrance to Mobile Bay. They were double booming it because of the high seas, the oil was slopping over it. And they were wondering if it was okay if they put up a second boom to try and catch it the next time. And Secretary Napolitano, I'll tell you, she can make a decision. She said, absolutely, you do what you've got to do to protect your assets in Alabama and Mobile Bay. What they do with the boom, and the intentions are, is to catch the slick, catch the oil spill, and guide it into skimmers. And as the skimmers come along, they'll suck that up and get it out. There's a boom being put across Pensacola Pass. And the idea is that as it comes into Pensacola Pass, as the tides are coming in, that there'll be skimmers just inside the pass. They'll suck all that oil up and it'll be disposed of properly. When the wind's not blowing terribly hard and not blowing towards shore, they'll burn it. But that's not always, with the rough seas we've had in this kind of weather, they're just not able to burn it all. And that's not always 100% either. We've asked, and we're asking today with Santa Rosa County, if we, the BP representatives who we're making the request to and Department of Environmental Protection, can we get additional boom to put up, for instance, on the 3 Mile Bridge into the entrances of canals that are to the west of us, Villa Venice and areas like that, where we can protect those areas if the oil does get past them and it's not captured. And we don't know what the response is going to be on that, but we expect it'll be favorable, and then it's a matter of just getting this stuff deployed. Today, let me back up. As you go into that website that I gave you, you'll see frequently asked questions that have been prepared by our county staff, and they're really good. They provide a lot of answers to things that I probably won't hit here today, but things you may be wondering about. Later today and tomorrow, the State Department of Health and the State Department of Environmental Health will be putting out their frequently asked questions. What do you do when you feel this burning or you smell this? What are the things that you do to prevent health risk? One of the things about the sheen, you know, it's not slick, it's a sheen that's coming in. It will turn to aerosol, but there will be those tar balls intermingled into it. I asked Secretary Soule yesterday, what will the cleanup, what will the response be, and what form will it take? And he asked me to give him till Monday to finalize that answer. In '93, there was a big tanker collision down in Tampa Bay. We had tar balls here. Some of you might remember that. And they had tar ball brigades, and I'm already, if you want to be part of my tar ball brigade, you know, we'll sign you up later this next coming week here. But we know we're going to have some of that. The governor declared a state of emergency yesterday, which allows for the National Guard to be called out. We expect that there will be National Guard available to help with that cleanup. We have thousands of volunteers already signed up to help with these cleanups. I'm on Facebook. Some of you all might be on Facebook. You can look on my page. The websites will link off of santarosa.fl.gov/oil slick. There are plenty of opportunities for folks to volunteer to help with that. And we'll have more details next week. Right now, the emphasis is on preventing this stuff from even making it to landfall, particularly over in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, where it's going up into those estuaries and those small inlets and passes. I had to leave the conference call a little bit early yesterday for another meeting, but one question that came up from a gentleman in Louisiana is, what about the Mississippi River? If you're booming the Mississippi River and you don't allow traffic to go up it or out of it, how does that affect commerce? You stop and think about the Ohio River, the Illinois River, the Tennessee River, those areas. How do we get commerce up and down that river system, and what effect does it have? Well, coming back a little closer to home, when you put a boom across Pensacola Pass, how does Gulf Power get cold? Now the plan is 8 hours a day that they'll open that pass up, and I'm assuming that's as the tide is going out, and they would allow boat traffic to come in. But if you're bringing big barges in, are they going to be hosing them off? They're going to clean them off, get that oil off of them? I mean, I'm concerned about transporting that stuff up. One of the questions that came up yesterday was, would they open up some of the locks and dams further up the Mississippi River and some of those other river systems